All right, what's up, Dragon Brood? It's day 2, and we have a lot more cards to talk about. Not as many as yesterday. You should go check that out. That was a ton. But let's get into it, and we're going to cover everything today since there's not as many cards. All right, this first one is Cloud Spire Coordinator, a red and a white for a 3/1 human pilot. When this creature enters, you scry 2. That's actually pretty sweet. And you can tap it to create X11 colorless pilot creature tokens, where X is the number of mounts and or vehicles that enter the battlefield under your control this turn. This token has saddles or mounts for 2 power. Okay, this is actually really good. One, you get a 3/1 for 2, which is kind of nice. Small toughness, but lots of power. But additionally, you actually get to potentially make an extra 1/1 every turn. Possibly more than one, because it's for the number of mounts or vehicles that entered. So if you're doing something real heavy with that style of deck, this is one of those cards you're going to want. Right, we have Count on Luck. It's red, red, red enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, exile the top card of your library. You may play that card this turn. Wow, this card really good. Honestly, this is good because it goes into a lot of different decks, right? If you're playing something that's hyper aggressive, maybe a burn deck, and you just want to have access to more spells, that's cool. If you're playing a mid-rangey control type thing, you just get access to another thing. It's like a free draw spell every turn. I don't know what we're doing with this. I don't even know if this is standard that it's going to show out, but this is really cool. Just getting access to another card for free isn't a bad thing. If anything, the triple red and the cost is what's going to hold it back. Full Throttle. Fun with name. You know what? Now I'm thinking about it. If there's not a speed demon in this set, they kind of messed up, right? Anyway, Full Throttle. 4 colorless. Red, red. Which, by the way, I had somebody just want to be like, well, actually, colorless is actually generic. And but like, yeah, we know. I'm still saying colorless. We don't care. Like, people know what I'm talking about. So anyway, 6 mana sorcery. After this main phase, there are 2 additional combat phases. At the beginning of each combat this turn, untap all creatures that attacked this turn. So you just get 2 extra. Like, normally when we get this type of card, it's for 1 extra attack step. But for 6 mana, a little bit pricey, but 2 attack steps is huge. And there are ways to reduce this cost or to ramp your mana, so yeah, I'm going to die to this card somewhere along the way. Right, next up is Fearless Swashbuckler, a new pirate, so a colorless red-blue for a 3/3 fish pirate. It has haste, vehicles you control have haste, and whenever you attack, if a pirate and a vehicle attack this combat, draw 3 cards, then discard 2. My goodness. All right, so you get 3 mana 3/3. Does happen to be a fish and a pirate, so that could fit some other decks, obviously. Then if now it does say you have to attack with a vehicle as well, so not just a pirate, but not very difficult to do if you're making a vehicle focused deck that also cares about drawing and discarding. Yeah, this kind of fits all the cards we saw yesterday in red blue that want you to draw, discard, get some effect. So this is right in line with all that stuff. Voyager Glide car, white for a 2/3 vehicle. When it enters, you scry, and you can tap 3 other untapped creatures you control. Until end of turn, this vehicle becomes an artifact creature and gains flying. Put a +1/+1 counter. Okay, so this is like weird. It's like an alternate crew cost because you can tap 3 creatures to make this bigger and it can attack. But also, it kind of functions in a way like the white card, the 1/2 that you can tap artifacts and creatures and scry and put a counter. It's kind of in that same vein, but only for other creatures. This is actually kind of a cool card. I don't know where it fits just yet, but maybe it's in that same style of deck. Maybe this just wants to be there after a sweeper, then it's easy to crew. I don't know, but this will definitely find some play, I imagine. Samit, the driving force. Sweet that Samit's back. 3 colorless, red, white, green for a 4/5 human warrior cleric legend. All right, well, it's got to have a lot going on for 6 mana. First strike, vigilance, haste, which makes sense because the old Samits had like multiple abilities. So you start your engines, awesome. Other creatures you control get +X+0, where X is your speed. All right. Non-creature spells you cast cost X less to cast, where X is your speed. Whew, there's a lot going on with this. First off, it is 6 mana, so it's kind of pricey. But it does have first strike, vigilance, haste. So when you do play it, it's going to be hard for your opponents to block it or deal with it. It is 6 mana, but it does also pump the rest of your team, because it does say other creatures, so it doesn't pump itself. but also making your non-creature spells less is kind of cool. The problem with this type of card, though, is you usually can't play more than 1 or 2 because it's triple colors and it's 6 mana. So it's kind of cool when you get it, but you can't really rely on it. Probably it'll still be a sweet card to play every once in a while, though. Marauding Mako, 1 red, 1/1, Shark Pirate, another Shark Pirate. Whenever you discard 1 or more cards, put that many +1/+1 counters on this, and it has cycling for 2 colorless. Yeah, this card's just good, right? It's a 1 mana 1/1. It gets bigger if you're doing the draw discard thing. It can cycle itself late, so you know you don't necessarily want to play that on like turn 5 or 6. You want to be looking for something better. This might even have a home in like Pioneer and Modern decks. Truthfully, like it's kind of a sweet little card. Chandra's Ignition. Oh well, this is just a reprint in the whatever we're calling that special guest slot, but kind of a cool card. Target creature you control deals damage equal to its power to each other creature you control. Not the most powerful card, but it is kind of cool in the sense that it's Ignition and it fits in a racing set. And it's kind of cool that she's just like firing behind her, blowing stuff up. Market BackwalkerXX. It's a construct artifact. This creature enters with X +1/+1 counters on it. You can pay 4, put a counter on it, and then when this creature dies, draw a card for each +1/+1 counter on it. Huh. So you have to pay 4 to get a 2/2. Then when it dies, you would still get 2 cards. I mean, it's good. You know, the thing is, it's just pricey for what you get, but you're almost trading like a small size blocker for some number of cards a lot of times. Now, obviously, if you can ramp or do something crazy, you can make like a 5/5 or something. But at that point, we're just doing like Genesis Wave and other crazy things. So, yeah, this is just all right. I mean, there's probably some artifact vehicle decks or something that may want it. Yeah, you know, it's a place to put counters if you're getting cheap counters or something. But not too super excited about this one. Ketramos, The New Dawn. Colorless white black for a 4/4 legendary creature god. It has menace, lifelink, indestructible. It can't attack or block unless there are 7 or more cards in exile. Whenever 1 or more cards are put into exile from graveyards and or the battlefield during your turn, draw a card and lose a life. Wow. This is a weird card. I mean, you got to get 7 cards in exile, but that's not that difficult to do. And there are multiple things, tons of things in Standard right now that exile things. Even more interesting, it's just in exile in general. It doesn't say your exile, so it just says can't or attack or block unless there are 7 or more cards in exile in general. So technically, if your opponent were to sunfall like 4 or 5 of your dudes, you're already most of the way there. So yeah, I don't know. This is a weird card. It's neat that you get to draw cards, you know, by exiling your own stuff. Actually, it's actually 1 or more cards are put in the grave during your turn. It doesn't even say it has to be your thing that exiles it. That's even more interesting. Wow, yeah, I don't know. I'm going to have to really work and deep dive on this card a little bit. But there's a lot going on, and this could be really good. Hour of Victory, 2 colors and a black. Enchantment, start your engines. When this enchantment enters, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token. Once you have max speed, you can pay a colorless and a black, sacrifice this enchantment, search your library for a card, put it into your hand, then shuffle. Activate only as a sorcery. So it's play an enchantment, get a thing at some point in the future, tutor for a card. That's not bad. If you're playing something that cares about running up your speed, this is obviously a card you can play, and it gets you a 2/2 with potential upside later. May not be realized, but who knows? Yeah, this just feels okay. I'm not super excited about it, but it's not like it's terrible either. I'm wondering though if the zombie skeleton, whatever type decks could run something like this, but they already have the talent that, or not the talent, but the other thing that comes into play makes you the 2/2 zombie that can't be blocked or whatever. So I'm not really feeling this that much. It's not terrible, but I think it needs a very specific deck to take advantage of it. So yeah, quick one today, but this is interesting. I'm curious, what did y'all find most interesting from today's pile of cards? Because I think there's going to be a lot of different answers, and I'm kind of curious what y'all are wanting to see featured from these cards. Additionally, if you missed yesterday's video, it was quite long. There was a bunch of cards. I think it's like 40 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and link that one here for you as well. But that's all I have you for now. We'll see you next time.